Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponder on Weather coming at you with another video. In this update, we're going to be talking about Tropical Storm ETA that is re-emerging back into the Caribbean, bringing some flooding rains into the Cayman Islands as well as the Bahamas, and then having impacts to Florida on Monday. So before I do get started, if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel, as I will upload about 5 videos a week to keep you updated. And I do ask you to share this video with your friends and family that may be in the path of ETA. So let's get right to it. Here's the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center as of 3 a.m. It is officially a tropical depression, ETA, at 35 miles an hour. It's moving north at 8, but it's re-emerging back into the Caribbean. And today will be your flooding rain day into Belize City as this is moving away, but it really starts to kind of strengthening as it moves northwest into the Caribbean, bringing some flooding rains to the Cayman Islands this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. You're just going to get torrential rains, and then Jamaica will be on the outskirts as this crosses over Cuba into the weekend. This will get close to the Bahamas, but it'll be right front loaded. So you'll be in that zone. Well, you'll be getting some very heavy rains into the Bahamas, and then we'll skirt the coast of Florida and then re-emerging back into the Gulf. You start getting this act together again, possibly, and then possibly going into the Panhandle of Florida. But that might not be until another week away. So closer in, what we're going to have to deal with is right now we have tropical storm watches up already for the Cayman Islands. That basically means they'll have tropical storm conditions possible within the watch area within 48 hours. So basically areas of interest are Cuba, northwestern Bahamas, the Florida Keys, the southern Keys should monitor this as tropical storm conditions should start to come into those areas throughout the weekend. So here's the latest rainfall estimates from ETA between now and Wednesday morning. As this system kind of winds down over Central America, they do expect another 5 to 10 inches over that area as they've been inundated into Honduras and Nicaragua. But as this comes your way towards Jamaica, they expect 2 to 5 inches between now and Wednesday morning in southeastern Mexico as well as Jamaica. But here's the bullseye over the Cayman Islands on Saturday and Sunday. As this crosses moving at about 8 miles an hour, they expect 10 to 20 inches over the Cayman Islands and portions of Cuba, and then isolated amounts of 30 inches. So that is a lot of rainfall over a short amount of time. And then this will extend into the Bahamas as well as the southern Keys of Florida with 5 to 10 inches and isolated amounts of 15 inches. So as you can imagine, rainfall will continue to be catastrophic, life-threatening flash flooding, significant life-threatening flash flooding and river flooding is possible in the Cayman Islands and Cuba. Flash flooding and river flooding is expected in Jamaica and southeastern Mexico. Flash flooding is also possible across the Bahamas and southern Florida. So like I said, they do expect tropical storm conditions to be coming into the Cayman Islands starting tomorrow into Saturday night. So let's take a look at the latest satellite picture from ETA, and you can tell it really kind of re-emerges back into the Caribbean. It's already kind of blowing up right around Belize again. And as this re-emerging, it's intensifying some of these heavier rain bands again as this will propagate northwest. So it starts to bubble up this area. You can kind of tell where the demarcation line of the drier air and the warm, just Gulf soupy air to tap into as this is moving across northwest throughout the weekend. Here's the latest guidance from Tropical Tidbits. Basically, with this system, there's going to be some dry air that's going to be funneled in. There's going to be some shear. So they do expect this to remain a tropical storm throughout the next 5 days as this will move across the Cayman Islands, Cuba, into the Bahamas, and eventually impacting Florida with some very heavy rain and coming back into the Gulf. But here's the latest conglomerate of all the different models and how this is possibly going to play out. It's basically going to move northwestward into the Cayman Islands and into Cuba, spreading some flooding rains into the Bahamas. It may or may not make landfall in South Florida, but impacts will be the same. If not, the official guidance takes it just offshore on the south side, heading into the Keys on Monday into Tuesday, and then re-emerging back into the Gulf, and then lifting northward when they're expecting this, very strong cold front from the United States moving in as this trough digs in, and this will eventually probably swing it towards the panhandle of Florida and up the northeast coast. So here's the latest satellite water vapor imagery of ETA on as of this morning. So you can see it's kind of re-emerging. The brown is your drier air. Your darker colors are your warm, soupy, tropical air that's able to tap into. So you can definitely kind of see as this kind of re-emerging, this is really starting to bubble up the darker colors of the oranges and reds of the thunderstorms, and this will only increase throughout the day as this moves northwest. But by tomorrow morning on Saturday, that's when I think you're going to be just inundated over the Cayman Islands, Grand Cayman, Cayman Islands, of just some very torrential rains and tropical storm force conditions of 40, 50, up to 60 mile per hour winds in this area. And then Jamaica will be on the outskirts again. So even though you have not had directly impacts from ETA, you have had indirect impacts, and you will be getting on those trailing feeder bands, outer bands of ETA, with some heavier showers starting to move back into the region on Saturday, and these will possibly intensify as you go throughout the day on Saturday into Sunday. But by Saturday night, you can really starts to kind of get into develop now. This is when I think you are going to get your heaviest rains over the Cayman Islands, because you start to get some of those darker colors going to the region as that deep tropical air just kind of really intensifies this system. But you can see some drier air moving in from the west, and this will kind of keep it at bay more or less, and inhibit this to really get strong. But it'll be a tropical storm dumping some extremely heavy rain over those areas, getting into Jamaica on Saturday night. And you can see the latest water vapor content. You're talking 3.5, 4-inch rain amounts over per hour potentially. The environment is able to produce that much rainfall. So you're talking some significant flash flooding rains over the Cayman Islands. So if you got anything you need from the store, I would advise to go get it today, because it's going to be very difficult to travel around on Saturday and Sunday over the islands, as you're just going to be locked in over about a 48-hour time span of some very heavy rains throughout Saturday into Sunday. And like I mentioned, Jamaica will be on the south side, so you'll start to get some of those heavier rains into Saturday night. And this is by Sunday morning, you're getting those outer feeder bands again in Jamaica, as ETA lifts northward, getting into Cuba now, probably as a strong tropical storm, 60, 65 mile per hour winds now, getting into the Bahamas, spreading the flooding rains into the Bahamas now. So you're going to start getting into the action of ETA, started getting into those heavier rain bands of 5 to 10 inches of rain with isolated amounts of 15, like the National Weather Service has mentioned. But on Monday morning, this will start to tail off. There's a big high pressure locked over here. There's a trough digging in here. There's some dry air funneling in the system, but this gets pretty close to South Florida, as it'll bring some of the heavier rain bands into Florida, into the Miami region, Fort Lauderdale, getting into the Keys. With some higher gust coming in on Monday morning. So if we take a look at some of the gusts we're talking about as this approaches on Monday morning, these wind gusts could be anywhere from 50 to 60, if not a little bit higher than that, as the official forecast right now to be a 60 to 65 mile per hour tropical storm at this point, as it gets near Florida coming in on Monday morning. So do expect definitely some higher wind gusts for that region that will spread across South Florida, getting into Central Florida. So pretty much widespread tropical storm force gust throughout central and south Florida coming up on Monday into Monday afternoon, even though this may tail off on the south side, because ETA is supposed to kind of expand its wind field somewhat. So those tropical storm force winds will expand outward, and you'll start getting some of those higher gusts further inland. And the GFS model even has a little bit higher gust, implying that this center would actually be even a little bit further north than the original track. So the official track from the National Hurricane Center takes it just south, pretty much over the Keys on Monday into Monday afternoon. The GFS model, the latest GFS model, takes it just a little bit further north. But making landfall or not, the center basically has to cross basically the middle, at least more the center has to cross land to make it an official landfall. But it's probably actually worse if it doesn't make landfall, because it'll keep its tropical storm characteristics and bringing the flooding rains into South Florida for a longer period of time. But if we kind of zoom out and show you, basically how this is going to play out over the longer term, here's the latest European ensembles as well as the GFS. Pretty much have it taken more or less like an S shape over the Gulf of Mexico. This will get into this region. There's a lot of uncertainty once it gets into this region as far as like intensity, because there's a lot of moving parts with troughs and cold fronts and high pressures, and but pretty much the consensus is once this thing gets picked up by probably Thursday, more or less probably into Friday, it will take it into the Florida panhandle as this moves across the southeast, eventually maybe crossing over Georgia into the Carolinas, going up on the outskirts of North Carolina, and eventually probably getting out to sea. But we do have probably another week away to deal with ETA's impacts, as by now and Wednesday morning, you can see some of the heavier rains getting into the Bahamas, of those 10-inch rains spreading over the Bahamas, and that will get into South Florida with some 5 to 8-inch rain amounts in your area, especially over like the Miami and the Keys. If you live in South Florida, definitely be on the lookout. So from some tropical storm force winds, as well as some heavier rain showers starting to move in, Monday into Tuesday. And if we kind of zoom out, this kind of shows you the bigger picture of this rainfall, and this will kind of a bullseye going over the Cayman Islands with those heavier amounts isolated up to 20 inches. So that's some incredible amounts just between now and Wednesday. The official guidance of the National Hurricane Center has it almost up to 30 inches. So that is some extreme rainfall, and Jamaica will be on the outskirts. The official guidance is 2 to 5 inches, pretty much widespread, with a little bit higher isolated amounts between now and Wednesday over the next 5 days from ETA's impacts, with more rain spreading into Jamaica, getting into Cuba. This will eventually get into the Bahamas with some of those heavier rains. And I stopped it on Wednesday because this will reemerge back into the Gulf, and a lot of uncertainty lies on the intensity and what it's going to do, but it's going to be eventually moving up probably the southeast coast and eventually the Florida panhandle. So, hey, I appreciate you guys watching this video. Definitely like it. Definitely leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to get notified to catch me in the next video where I protect you before and after the storm.